Hey guys, it's Nero from Fonearena. In front of me is the Sony Smartwatch 3, and I'm going to give you my opinion of Sony's latest wearable, having used it for the past 2 weeks. So this review of the Sony Smartwatch 3 is going to be split into 3 pieces. First, I'm going to take a look at the hardware. Next, all new Android Wear platform. Finally, see whether the smartwatch lives up to Sony's claims. That will give you 2 days battery life on a single charge. Let's kick things off by looking at the hardware. So the front of the Smartwatch 3 is dominated by this 1.62 inch transflective display that offers 320 by 320 pixels resolution, which, if anyone's interested, is just over 282 pixels per inch density. Sony claimed that the transflective display is much easier to read in direct sunlight compared to other displays used on wearables. In my testing, I found that actually, the Smartwatch 3 is very pleasant to use outdoors. Unlike other devices, mainly I've previously used the Samsung Gear 2 Neo, which is particularly hard to read in direct sunlight. So Sony have done well there. As you'll notice here, the strap on the Smartwatch 3 comes around and meets the core module in the middle. Now the core module actually serves a few purposes. Because the smartwatch straps meet in the middle, it allows you to actually pop the module out and change strap when you want to. The module itself is quite small, as you can see, but despite it being this small, Sony's actually done really well in that they've been able to fit a micro USB port into the module itself. The beauty of this is that instead of having to carry a cradle dock around with you and fear that your smartwatch is actually going to run out of battery, being able to use a micro USB means you can pretty much use just about any charger. If you go to stay at someone's house, chances are they have a phone that uses micro USB. The core module on the Smartwatch 3 also houses the 420 mAh battery and the integrated GPS receiver, but more on that later. So that's the good with the design, but what about the bad? We'll start off with the silicone strap. The strap itself is proprietary. It's not your standard watch strap, which means that if you did want to change the strap, you're pretty much stuck with what Sony has to offer. And the range isn't absolutely massive at the moment. There's a few colours available, and yes, there is pink if anyone was wondering. The second thing about the strap is it's made of silicone. And now silicone is alright, it has a smooth finish. However, and I'm hoping you can pick this up here, the strap is a complete and utter lint and dust magnet. I noticed this within about 15 minutes of putting the watch on for the first time. It already started to attract dust. And no matter what you do, you can't get rid of it. And if you were able to, we're pretty certain, and no matter what you do, you can't get rid of it. Overall, the Smartwatch 3 design is just like any other model and device at the moment. It has some very good bits, and it has some not so good bits. But thankfully, the good bits far outweigh the very few things I don't like. Now that's the hardware taken care of, but what about the software? Is Google's new Android Wear OS up to the mark? Unlike previous Sony smartwatches, the Smartwatch 3 is powered by Android Wear, which is Google's new platform announced earlier this year. It's only been out a handful of months, but have Google actually managed to make their mark on the wearable arena? So the interface is pretty much a watch face, as you come to expect. It doesn't have the launcher style interface that the Apple Watch does. Everything is accessed via swipes. By swiping down, you can see the date, the battery percentage, and flip the watch to mute or unmute it. So when a notification comes up, it'll either come up full screen or just as a little pop-up at the bottom. To dismiss a notification, all you do is swipe it away to the right. So as you can see, I've got another notification, and this is quite a good example. If I want to access it, I just swipe up and it shows me the message there. I can continue to read it till it's chopped off, but to view the whole message, you just tap on it again. And it's actually quite nice and pleasant to read, you have no problems. You can also interact with the message. By swiping to the left, I can archive it because I'm using Gmail, reply to the message using Google's voice input, or open it on my phone. For now, I think I'm going to reply to it. Thank you for your message. However, I am no longer interested. Please unsubscribe me. So that didn't come out right, but it's already sent. And that's actually one thing that's quite annoying about Android Wear. The time taken between you issuing a command for voice input, such as send a message, reply to an email, when you actually stop talking, or it perceives that you've stopped talking, which isn't good when you're dictating text of any length, it automatically sends the message. Although there is a very small wait between actually sending it, we would have rather it actually asked for confirmation. I'm still back to the National Express, and I'm going to get rid of them as well. Now you can see it's going to take me through some weather, and this is using the One Weather app. I've got my entire forecast. I can open it on my phone as well. Let's dismiss that for now. Same with the office location. Giving me all the information I need, and then allowing me to view more on my device. So now I've got some lovely stocks information. I can dismiss that as well. I've got no more notifications at the moment. However, the good thing with Android Wear that I've noticed is that the compatibility with Android is flawless. Unlike something like the Galaxy Gear, the Samsung Galaxy Gear, which ran Android but required a lot of hacking to be able to compatible with anything but a non-Samsung device, and even the previous Sony Smartwatch range, which had their own proprietary platform that was compatible with Android, they still required some work to get it connected. With Android Wear, everything just works. It's really easy for app developers to get on board with Android Wear because all they have to do is release an app, an Android Wear compatible version of the app, which is automatically installed on your smartwatch when you install the actual app on your mobile device. It's really useful. So that takes care of gestures and notifications. The last thing I want to look at is using Google Now. And that's what this whole interface is all about. It's all about cards and responding, interacting within them, as we're doing here. You can also do this. Okay Google, what's the time in New York? Okay Google. Okay, so this is a question that Google doesn't have an instant answer for, but like any good search engine, it still gives you the access to the information. What it's doing is just taking the Google search results and displaying the top 4 results on your watch. Each result has its title, a short blurb, the top level domain, and quick access to open this on your handset. Not happy with these results? Scroll down once more and you can open the entire search on your phone. And that's it. Let's go back to Google and see what else it can do. So you can use Google to take a note, set a reminder, show your step counter, which currently sits at 6,900 for myself, send a text message, email someone, look at your agenda for the day, navigate somewhere, and you can use searches such as navigate home, navigate work, or even navigate to a petrol station nearby, set a timer, start the stopwatch, set an alarm, show your alarms, play some music, or start an application. And if you go to start, you can see the different applications that are installed on your smartwatch. For instance, I have Evernote set up. You can send a new tweet. Tip calculator, just a random application we found. As I said earlier, tweetings, but I haven't got my account installed at. If this then that. Google Fit, Find My Phone. Another calculator for Android Wear, and Action Set, which is one of the preloaded apps. So that's Android Wear, which for a platform that's 6 months old, well, Google, you've done very well. I am impressed, and for as long as I remain an Android user, I'm somewhat certain that I'll end up using Android Wear, just because it's compatible with multiple devices. Back to the Smartwatch 3, and let's move on to the final topic. So let's move on to the final topic. How accurate are Sony's claims of a 2-day battery life on a single charge? As we covered earlier, all the electronics are housed in this small core module. That includes a 420 mAh battery, and Sony's claims are that you'll get between 2 and 5 days on a single battery charge. How accurate really is this though? Because 420 mAh isn't oh so much larger than other devices, such as the LG G Watch, 300 mAh, yet that lasts about a day. What, have Sony managed to do something absolutely incredible? In short, no. Sure, the Smartwatch 3 could probably last 5 days if you barely used it, but I've pretty much found that I get, on average, about 2 days battery life. The exact number of hours does fluctuate between 40 and 50 hours, but I'd happily say 2 days battery life. However, when using something like the GPS, this battery life is shortened right the way down to about 4 hours. That's a massive reduction, but it's understandable. The GPS may become useful in the future and is a good feature to have in an absolute emergency, but chances are if you want your watch to last for a day or two, you won't be using it. Overall battery life is quite impressive. I am a heavy user. There's always notifications coming through on my device. I'm always checking things on my watch. Occasionally I'm dictating a reply using the watch. So I'm fully using Google services, and it is always connected to my handset. I've been quite impressed that it lasts 2 days. And going back to our earlier point about the micro USB, even if your battery dies and you're at work or you're in the car, you can just pop it on to charge. The whole thing takes about 2.5 hours to charge. So the Smartwatch 3. Just recapping, the design is sleek, functional, but a little bit dull. It is possible to improve this by using a different coloured strap. However, the range is limited to only Sony straps and not a standard watch strap, and the range is quite limited at the moment. Android Wear is an absolutely brilliant platform for the fact it's only a few months old. Google have really put a lot of thought into it, and it's actually quite a joy to use. It'll be very interesting to see whether the Apple Watch has a similar simplistic ease of use. And lastly, the battery life. We didn't get the 5 days Sony promised, and to be honest, you probably need to not use it at all to get those 5 days. However, with medium to heavy usage and a lot of notifications throughout the day, we still average about 2 days, which compared to other smartwatches is rather quite impressive. And that's the Sony Smartwatch 3. I want to say a big thank you to Clove Technology for lending us the Smartwatch 3 for the review. Check them out at the link in the description below. What do you think of the Smartwatch 3? What do you think of Android Wear? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Please hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, and hey, why not do us a favour by sharing the video with your friends as well. I'll see you in the next video.